What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 81. We're starting today's episode on the back of our win over Fiorentina on the opening day, 3-1, with Vlahovic scoring a brace. With this, the departure announced, Konrad Laimer going back to the Bundesliga, off to Borussia Dortmund for £45 million. Now 30 years old. You know I love Konrad Laimer, one of my favourite players in FIFA, so versatile, but in his 30s, going to show signs of decline soon. I was okay letting him go because I already had my replacement lined up. But heading into today's episode here, before the Salernitana again, we had a draw for the Champions League group stage. I've won it 2 times in a row with 2 different teams, and in the group, Juve have got well, after last season, I'm not really going to say much, but it's Borussia Mönchengladbach, the Bundesliga side, Celtic, who we had last year, of course, lest we forget, the Scottish side, and the first team to beat us after taking over Bayern Munich in all competitions, and Slavia Prague as well. And if you're watching my player save right now, you would have seen they've been in our group with Benfica as well. So I've got history of all 3 of those teams. I mean, Mönchengladbach in the Bayern Munich season last year as well. Now, you look at that group and think, well, banker, right? Banker. You're going through 6 wins out of 6. But after last season, well, you know, obviously we topped the group, 4 wins in 6. But let's not forget, with 45 minutes to go on match day 6, at that point, we were heading out. Because we won our opening 3. We then lost 2 on the bounce. And we were on the verge of getting knocked out when Young Boys were leading in the final group game in Munich. So I'm not going to say anything. Like, you know, it's really strange. But like, whenever I look at a group and I'm like, oh, that's a tough one now. It's a really tough one. You know, I end up going through reasonably comfortably and probably secure it with a game or 2 to spare. But then when I look at a group and I'm like, oh yeah, banker, easy money. I really struggle. So after last season, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to, you know, leave the talking on the pitch. And let's just say that. Anyway, first and only game of today's episode, Salernitana away in the beautiful city of Salerno. And you would have seen a familiar face in the lineup for Salernitana. You know, in the last episode, I was talking about the transfer market and how strange it is and how unrealistic it is. And, you know, there's very little we can do about it. When we signed Ivan Toney back at the start of Season 2, you remember that he left Brentford to go to, well, what was a relegated La Liga side. He went down to the Second Division for Season 2. And then after winning back-to-back Golden Boots with Nottingham Forest, part of our treble-winning season in Season 4, and of course helped us win the Europa League in Season 3, he's gone to Salernitana. Now, again, I very briefly mentioned it there. Salerno is a glorious, picturesque city. Absolutely beautiful. I can see players wanting to go there in their final years. Nice little retirement place. You know, we've seen Cesc Fabregas do that with Como. But, now? Now? Really? Now? What? Okay, fair enough. But anyway, heading into the game, we took the lead through Bruno Guimaraes' first goal of the season for the Magpies. Salernitana would get back on level terms. It wasn't Toney with the goal, but they found their equaliser. And I have to be totally honest here, this was just one of those games when the FIFA gods were not smiling on you. You know when you come up against a goalkeeper who's literally on the flames? You might have beaten him once, but you know you ain't going to beat him again. Alessio Cragno. I think he was out of the Brescia Academy, then played for Cagliari for a few years. He's right now at Salernitana though, and he was just on absolute flames. Yeah, he's got a couple of caps for Italy, or a few I think actually, but even so, he in this game was the thorn in my side. And oftentimes I'll walk off the pitch and think to myself, kind of full-time whistle, put my controller down and say, how did I not win that game? Well, I know how I didn't win this game. Alessio Cragno. I took 12 shots, had a 5.1 XG, dominated the game. Yet Cragno, despite getting beaten early through Guimaraes, made save after save after save. Went at the woodwork, had a ball cleared off the line. It was just one of those games where you just knew you weren't going to find a winner. Even with like half an hour to go, I was still pushing, I was still pressing. I just knew I wasn't going to find a winner. I didn't. Salernitana hold on for a big point early. And yeah, that's very disappointing. First 2 games, no clean sheets so far. And Alessio Cragno was saying, Doxy boy, why'd you get Donnarumma? I was right here available on a much cheaper deal. Anyway, speaking of deals, following the game, I did decide to make some moves. With deadline day right around the corner and £111 million in our budget after the sale of Konrad Laimer, well, I made a big sale. You would have seen a bid right before the Salernitana game. Youssouf Fofana, who was in the lineup for that game, and to be fair, didn't do that much. Arsenal put a bid in for our French holding mid. I said, Mikel, you give me 45 mil. You can have him to replace Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka. He said, fair enough. Fofana comes to Arsenal. The long list of great French players over the years at Arsenal, especially during the Arsene Wenger era, of course, continues with Fofana going to the Emirates. And to be honest, I was totally fine with that, because I already had my 2 replacements lined up in my transfer shortlist. When Konrad Laimer left, I said at the start of the episode, it's alright, don't worry about it. I got my replacement lined up. And I said when we joined Juventus, I was going to bring back some of the stars that have now left the club. Like we did with Bayern Munich with the likes of Gravenberch and Jamal Musiala. Well, we brought back Fagioli. And I was definitely going to bring this guy back as well, because I'm a massive fan. Yup, from Schalke to Juventus, American international Weston McKennie, right now Real Betis, 29 years old, in the prime of his career. Maybe no spring chicken, but unlikely to decline for at least a couple of years. 85 rated, and I said it, you always want a player like this. We pick him up for just over the valuation, 4-year, 95 grand a week, and the American is back in Turin. With Nottingham Forest, this kind of player was Fred the Red, who came from the Red Devils, formerly of Shakhtar, to Nottingham Forest. Played literally wherever I asked him to. Further forward at CAM, on the flank, left back, right through the spine, holding mid. The guy played literally everywhere. Bauer, last season in Bayern Munich, did the exact same thing. The wonder kid we picked up from Hertha Berlin was the exact same sort of player. Literally filled in wherever I asked him. Sometimes at fullback, primarily at CM, occasionally a little bit further forward. He did what I asked him to. Weston McKennie is one of the most balanced players in the game at his level. Absolutely incredible. I mean, the guy could literally play up top with 92 finishing. Yeah, you heard me right, 92 finishing. It's his joint highest stat. 92 finishing. Yet despite that being the case, with his height, with his frame, with his body type and his strength as well, he could play centre half. I mean, this guy literally could be Dion Dublin. This guy could be anyone. This guy could literally play anywhere on the pitch. So, you know, when Konrad Laimer went, I was like, it's fine, man. It's totally fine. He might have left in the save, but I'm bringing him right back. Weston McKennie is in, buzzing with that, and so happy to get the American back into it, because again, he's just so versatile. The guy can play literally anywhere. And after Fofana left as well, I had the replacement for him lined up too. We had the money after he and Laimer left the club for big deals. And, well, I said about bringing back former Juventus players. I said that we got a nice Italian core getting assembled here. I mean, obviously, let's be honest here, I was going to bring this guy back as well. You know, Fagioli left, Moretti left. Right now at Stade Rennais, obviously, I was going to bring him back as well. Yep, a little bit more expensive than I was hoping to pay, but to be fair, when you look at his stats, when you look at his starting overall now at this point in the save, and the age as well, I think the price is probably going to be justified, because this guy, like McKennie, maybe not quite as versatile, can still fill in different roles, if not positions, and is a brilliant pickup. And obviously, you know, Fagioli came through the Juventus Academy, and Moretti the same. You know, I have to say, obviously, Juve, we know that they've kind of lost their dominance in Italian football over the past few years. And I mentioned before, I think for neutrals and non-Italian football watchers, it's a really good thing, because it makes you more, you know, curious as to how the league is getting on. I've said it before, it's one of the most competitive major European leagues out there. Obviously, in the Bundesliga, you know, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be won by Bayern. In fact, the last 10 titles have been won by Bayern. You know, PSG have won, I think, 8 of the last 10, I think, in Ligue 1. You know, a lot of people think the Premier League is going to go that way. I'm not personally so sure, though. I'm really not. Now, there's a long way to go, don't get me wrong. So, Newcastle United fans, hold your horses when I say this. But based on the starts of this season, well, with the money, the financial backing they've got, you never know what the long-term future could bring. But, you know, you can never rule out a club like Chelsea. You know, you can never rule out a club like Liverpool. Then you got Manchester United. Then you got Spurs as well thrown into the mix. And this year, lest we forget, right now during the World Cup, who's top of the table? Because it ain't Man City. No, it's Arsenal. So obviously, you know, like I don't think the Premier League is going to go that way exactly. But, you know, for the Serie A's sake, I think one of the reasons why it's become a lot more enjoyable of a league and why I myself personally have taken more interest over it over the past few years is because, well, in the past 3 years, we've had 3 different winners. And that is fantastic for the league's competitiveness. I always say that is the best way to raise interest in a league. The reason why I don't keep up to date with the Bundesliga games as often as I should do, really, yeah, okay, you know, occasionally I watch the Dortmund Bayern Munich games, but the reason why is quite simple. Come the end of the season, I can probably guess who's going to win the title. Well, because the last 10 years it's been one team, Bayern Munich. But for the Serie A, I think that's one of the reasons why it's got a lot better. But, you know, for Juventus' sake, the point I'm getting to here, a long-winded point, the point I'm getting to here is that Juve, yeah, they might have lost their dominance. I think it was 9 Scudettos in a row, I think it was, in Turin at the Allianz Stadium. But the reason why it's so exciting for Juve right now is because, well, it kind of reminds me a bit of Barcelona. You know, it kind of reminds me a bit of Barcelona. Maybe they're not quite as dominant as they were, you know, going back several years now. But think of the young talent the Catalan Giants have got, man. Seriously, and Xavi's working with a ton of great youngsters. Pedri, Gavi, Fati, Balde, so on and so forth, you know. And with Juve, well, like I said, you know, you've got some brilliant young talent there at Juventus. You've got a star striker up top in Vlahovic as well. Chiesa's come in. And again, the lads out of the academy, Moretti and Fagioli. So exciting. So in the end, I made 4 signings on deadline day. Moretti came in and McKennie came back as well. But the other 2 signings were, well, for my fifth free agent signing of the window. Yeah, I had to do it in the end. You know I love a dressing room leader to steady the nerves, settle the ship, or the other way around, settle the nerves, steady the ship, and also provide some European winners' experience. Jorginho's won a Euros with Italy. He's a heck of a cool head, everyone knows that. From Napoli to Chelsea and now back in the Serie A. He comes in on a free transfer. No one else is going to take him, so I thought I will for a bit of leadership in the dressing room as well. And I finally got him as well. There was a player on my shortlist I was waiting to come available for the whole window. I couldn't get him because there wasn't enough depth at Nice. But finally, with 2 hours to go there, was Emmanuel Greco. Keep your eyes on him. We didn't have much depth at right back when he took over. We still don't now. We've got a nice little solid backup here for Birandelli. Greco in, 76 overall, absolutely rapid in his early 20s and shows great potential as well. Really smart little pickup. So deadline day comes to an end. 4 new signings, a crazy rebuild for Juve. But whilst we've got a star-studded team, similar problems like we had with Bayern, not that much depth. And unlike with Bayern, stumbling out of the blocks. Yes, won on match day 1, but already a slip-up in our first away game of the season. But that will end today's episode of Career Mode, guys. Big thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, please drop a like. Most of you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you for the next episode of Career Mode very soon.